Picture this. Two people, same city, same year. One earns $60,000 a year. The other earns $25,000 a year. Now here's what nobody talks about. The person earning less doesn't just have less money. They're actively paying more for everything. More per dollar borrowed. More per square foot of housing. More per unit of insurance. And the crazy part? Most of them have no idea it's happening. This isn't bad luck. It's not poor decisions. It's a system. A system designed to extract maximum money from the people who have the least of it. Today I'm going to show you exactly how it works. My name is Alex, and this is the hidden poverty tax. The invisible system that makes sure being broke is one of the most expensive things you can be in America. Let's start with credit. If you have good credit and walk into a bank asking for a $15,000 car loan, you'll get around 5 or 6% interest. Now imagine you have bad credit. Same car, same loan amount, but now the interest rate is 18, 20, sometimes 25%. Over a 5-year loan, that difference costs you thousands. Sometimes the entire price of the car again, paid purely in interest. You borrowed $15,000. You paid back $24,000. That extra $9,000 didn't buy you anything. It just transferred your money to the bank because you had the misfortune of starting with less. And it gets worse with mortgages. A person with a 780 credit score gets a mortgage at 6.5%. A person with a 620 credit score gets the same mortgage at 8.5%. On a $250,000 home, that's a difference of over $130,000 in total interest paid over 30 years. Same house, same neighborhood. One person pays $130,000 more simply because they had less money to begin with. That is the poverty tax on credit, and it is completely legal. Now let's talk about where you shop. If you live in an affluent neighborhood, you have a Whole Foods, a Trader Joe's, fresh produce everywhere, prices kept reasonable by competition. If you live in a lower income neighborhood, your options might be a corner store and a discount chain that charges full price for things about to expire. Fresh vegetables cost twice as much or simply aren't available. So you buy what's cheap, what lasts, what fills you up. Processed food, fast food off the dollar menu. And then people wonder why lower income communities have higher rates of diabetes and heart disease. It's not a mystery. It's math. When a bag of chips costs $1.50 and a head of broccoli costs $3.50, and you have $20 to feed your family for 3 days, you do the math yourself. You're not making bad choices. You're making the only choices available to you. Now let's talk about something even more invisible. The no bank account tax. About 6 million Americans don't have a bank account. Check cashing services charge between 1% and 5% of the check value just to cash it. If you make $2,500 a month and use a check cashing service every payday, you're paying up to $1,500 a year just to access your own money. Not spent on food or rent or savings, just evaporated into fees for the privilege of touching money you already earned. Payday loans are the most brutal version of this. You borrow $300 to cover rent before payday. 2 weeks later, you owe $345. That's an annual percentage rate of 390%, not 39. 390%. If you can't pay it back in full, you roll it over. Some people spend years trying to pay off a $300 loan. 12 million Americans use payday loans every year. The industry generates $9 billion in fees annually. That's $9 billion taken from people who were already struggling to make rent. And the people running these services know exactly what they're doing. They don't set up check cashing stores in wealthy suburbs. They put them right next to dollar stores in neighborhoods where people have no other option. Let's talk about insurance. Your car insurance premium is partly determined by your zip code. Not just your driving record, your zip code. If you live in a lower income area, you pay more for the same coverage than someone with the same driving history living 2 miles away in a wealthier neighborhood. A 35-year-old with a perfect driving record who lives in a working class neighborhood pays $200 more per month than an identical driver in the suburbs. She has never had an accident. She is being charged extra simply for where she can afford to live. And then there's the time tax. This one doesn't show up on any receipt, but it might be the most expensive of all. If you have money, you pay someone else to handle your problems. Your car breaks down, you call roadside assistance. You get sick, you see a doctor that afternoon. If you don't have money, you spend your Saturday on public transit getting to a mechanic, waiting 4 hours for a repair you can barely afford. You get sick, you wait because the copay is $75, and that's groceries for 2 days. Every hour you spend dealing with problems that money would have solved in 20 minutes is an hour you're not earning more, not learning, not building anything. And research shows that chronic financial stress literally reduces cognitive function. It's not a character flaw, it's a measurable, documented effect. So let's add this all up. Bad credit costs you $9,000 extra on a car loan. The poverty premium on a mortgage is $130,000 over 30 years. Check cashing fees run up to $1,500 a year. Payday loans can trap you in debt for years. Higher insurance premiums cost hundreds extra per year. Being poor in America isn't just about having less. It's about paying more for everything you do have. And it compounds. Just like wealth compounds upward for people with money, these costs compound downward for people without it. So what do you actually do with this? First, if you don't have a bank account, opening one is the most urgent thing you can do. If you have a history of overdrafts, look at Chime or Current. Online banks with no monthly fees and no overdraft penalties. Eliminating check cashing fees alone saves you over $1,000 a year. Second, your credit score is not just a number. It is a tax rate. Every point you add is money you stop paying to lenders charging you extra for being poor. Pay bills on time. Get a secured credit card if you have no credit. Keep utilization below 30%. A 100-point improvement in your score can save you tens of thousands of dollars over the course of major loans. Third, if you ever consider a payday loan, call 211 first. It's a national helpline connecting you to local emergency assistance programs. Many of them exist specifically to help people avoid this trap. Fourth, shop your insurance every single year. Companies count on you being too busy to compare. Switching insurers can save hundreds per year for the exact same coverage. Here's the bigger picture. The poverty tax is not an accident. It is a feature of a system built to extract value from people at every level of the economic ladder. The less power you have, the more you pay. But the moment you understand the design, you stop being a passive victim of it. Knowledge doesn't make you rich overnight, but ignorance costs you every single day. That is the hidden poverty tax. Invisible, legal, and relentless. The question is whether you're going to keep paying it or start fighting back.